I'm Johnny Millenium, this is Victor Lucas, and this is our review of Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. And we're doing this for 3 channels. We're doing it for EP, we're doing it for the Happy Console Gamer Show, and our other review show, film review show, Film Fury.
Yes.
Because this is a pretty big movie. You know, we've been waiting for this for our whole life.
Maybe the biggest movie ever made.
It
so
really
massive.
It is, isn't
right?
it? It's crazy, yeah.
And so what we're doing is we're going to have a nice little chat here. We're going to have a chit-chat and a score, non-spoiler.
Non-spoiler.
And then after that, after the score, we'll get into a little bit of spoiler talk. So if you want to stick around for some of that, you can, but you probably want to see the movie first before we get into the spoiler
Right, and so
stuff.
as he says, no spoilers.
Yes.
Our score, and after the score, spoilers.
Yes.
Just you got to double warn people on this so we don't screw it up for anybody.
Should we tell people what Star Wars Rise of Skywalker is, just in case they have no idea what Star Wars is all?
What is it, Vic? I don't know. What did we just see?
It's episode 9 of a saga that has been going on for 42 years. It's wrapping up all of these threads and plot lines that we've seen through Star Wars movies for a long time, but most specifically the last 3 movies. And the big question that I think you had and I had and everybody that's going to go see this movie is, how the hell is J.J. Abrams going to tie up a lot of the loose ends that Rian Johnson left for him with The Last Jedi?
Right.
Because that movie completely subverted all the ideas of what we were thinking was going to happen after Force Awakens.
And let's just go back to Force Awakens for a brief moment.
Yeah.
We both liked Force Awakens.
I loved Force Awakens.
It's a soft reboot.
I loved that movie.
But I enjoyed it. I love the introduction of the new characters. And then we got into the next movie, number 8.
Yeah.
And The Last Jedi. I just want to say that when I initially saw The Last Jedi, I liked it. But hold on. And I watched it again, and then I watched it again, and then I was like, wait a second, Rian Johnson didn't do anything in this movie. He didn't answer any questions. Kind of put a dead end to mostly everything. And that's what I didn't like about that movie. I even took my own review down.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to believe that episode 8 wasn't good, because I knew Star Wars would have a serious problem, and I was really worried about it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it sunk in. I'm like, oh my God, you know. So I'm not a big fan of the last one. So we were a little nervous going into this one.
Well, it's funny because The Last Jedi, I think, makes a pretty cool first impression because it's so audacious and there's so much cool imagery in it. It's a beautiful film, but you're right. Rian Johnson really, and he's on record still to this day, saying it doesn't make sense for him as a creator to do something that doesn't subvert expectations. He wants to surprise, and he did do that with that movie, but
he was very meta with that movie. Yes.
Yeah, he also cut us off at the knees with a lot of plot threads that we wanted to find out more about.
Right.
You know, we wanted to know who this Snoke was from all the marketing materials.
Rey's parents, all of that
We
stuff.
wanted to know Rey's parents. You know, we wanted to see Luke Skywalker get back into battle and get into the fight. And so we all know how all that turned out. And so JJ, quite frankly, was left quite a bit of a mess to start with, because the rebellion is in tatters at the end of Jedi.
Yes.
And there has been some kind of forced connection between Rey and Kylo Ren, and we don't quite know what is going to happen out of that relationship. Luke has passed away, and of course, tragically, Carrie Fisher died, and so good luck, J.J.
I know.
Abrams.
All of a sudden it's like, what happens next? There was no cliffhanger.
No, and there was
nothing.
like 9 people left in the rebellion at the end of the movie, and and then we cut to a kid with a broom, and it's like, what?
I know.
What is happening?
Broom Boy.
How would he make a sequel to that?
So we went into this movie today, and I just want to say, for my emotions sitting there, I had no emotions to begin this movie. I really had no expectations.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking it was going to suck, and I didn't think it would be very good. I didn't know what it would be. I didn't know what to expect.
JJ had an impossible
He
task.
had an impossible task.
Yes.
And here's the thing. Did JJ pull it off?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. I mean, it's hard not to carry the anger towards a lot of the decisions from 8. Even though 8, and I say this to this day, is a fun movie, it's just a bad middle movie for a trilogy to the third part of 3 trilogies.
They're just making it up as they go along, and that's what I did not like.
Yes, it didn't flow with the rest of what was happening.
It just dead stop for everything.
Yes.
But anyways,
yes.
Does this movie fix everything? And could JJ be able to pull that off? You said yes, and I agree with you. I think so.
I think so, but I also know that as the viewer watching this film, because of the weird plot directions of 8, I couldn't take my intellectual hat off for
No,
9,
I know.
and I couldn't help but analyze every single decision.
Yes.
And that sucked. It sucked that I was watching the movie and just couldn't get captivated by it, because I'll tell you something, Daisy Ridley, we were both talking about this before.
Yeah.
We broke tradition and we talked a bit before we
never
started
usually
rolling.
do, yeah.
And it's because it's pissing rain out there. That's why we're shooting in my hotel room, by
Yeah,
the way,
yeah,
just
yeah.
in case anybody's wondering. But we both agreed Daisy Ridley was incredible. This was the best work that John Boyega's done in the movies.
Yes, and he finally got to do something in this movie
and
again,
it was
which is
wonderful.
It was great to see all of these characters got to go on
Yeah.
an adventure.
Poe is great in
Poe
this.
is great, and
Yep.
so all the acting is great. And
Yep. Adam
so,
Driver's great in
yeah,
this.
awesome. So the thing about it is, the only thing I'll say about this movie is it's so fast paced.
Yeah.
It goes from A to B to C to D, and it just keeps on going. And you don't have a moment to catch your breath.
Right.
And in a way, it's kind of good. You can't stop and go, wait a sec. You're just carried on to this like roller coaster ride of emotions.
Yes.
And there's a lot of emotion.
Yeah,
in this movie.
it hits the emotions. It kind of reminds me of the wrap up of Return of the Jedi when they go from planet to planet to planet and everybody's celebrating.
Yes.
That's like the 2.5 hours of this
Yeah,
movie.
boom, yeah, it's the entire movie.
It's
so
like
funny, that.
fireworks that are just go, wow, what the hell? And so it's a bit hard to kind of encapsulate every single minute detail.
Yes.
But there is a lot of, and also it makes the movie. Partially because you're watching it, at least for me, intellectually and trying to figure out how they solved the big puzzle, the quagmire that Rian Johnson left them. So you're thinking like that, but also the movie's jumping around
So
from
much-
scene to scene to
Trying
scene
to
to
fix all those things.
and you see totally, and you see the scene beats. You see, okay, that's a cool scene. That's a cool scene. So the flow of the film is a lot less organic and emotional. Even though like Empire did that too.
Yeah.
But
this was way.
but Empire, I was along with every ride, and there were like tangents just flew from they flowed in from one to another in a. It wasn't Empire was epic in the day, but it wasn't anywhere near as epic as this movie is in terms of size.
What
and
we were
scale.
saying is that this feels like there's 50 movies crammed in.
Totally.
Like, when the movie was over,
Yeah.
I was just like stunned in my seat. I was like, how do I even process
you-
this? And we're still processing it
Yes,
still to
yes.
this moment.
Yeah,
we
it
don't have
requires-
we don't have our full answers on it.
It requires multiple
viewings.
But I think the big question with this movie is it a nice send off or a nice sort of capper to the mythology of Star Wars that we have known since the 77? And I think it is.
It is. It's the best one they could do.
But I think even more importantly than that is, does it leave it open to more Star Wars stories? Because we've been told this is the end of the Skywalker saga. Do you want more Star Wars stories after this?
You know, the interesting thing is that I felt so much emotion watching this movie.
Yeah.
And I honestly didn't think I'd feel any. I didn't feel any in The Last Jedi. In this movie, and I don't mind saying it, because I'm being a Star Wars fan like yourself since 1977, so I'm in the theater back then.
Yeah.
And so many things were going on, and they were wrapping so many conclusions up of so many years that there's so much emotion. I was just welling up all the time. And I'll just say this, when the movie was over, I feel that I love Star Wars again the way I used to like Star Wars.
Right.
But yet this is a very fast-paced movie.
Right.
And, and as you said, you feel that they're trying to fix everything, and it's so apparent that they are. It's beyond apparent.
We're going to get into a little bit of that
yeah.
in the spoilers as well. But yeah, if you couple this with the successful launch of The Mandalorian and the recognition that there's a lot of different ways into the Star Wars universe, it does feel like there's a vibrancy there, even though this was meticulously crafted to kind of sell the industry of Star Wars.
Right.
But it was powerfully put together, and although I also had many moments where I was welling up, I cried in a couple of spots, I wanted even more of that. And
really,
I
I
did.
really felt like they delivered on the emotional punches because there's so many in this movie.
I agree. They felt a little manipulative, and
That's what we're talking about. Trying to fix everything felt manipulative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also wanted a bit more. Although I loved seeing Billy D. Williams in there, and he was having such a blast.
He was really good, but I don't understand. It's like you actually wanted more. I mean,
not more big, not more epic,
Yeah,
but
'cause
more
Big and Epic was
emotion.
there.
I wanted more
really?
emotion. Like
You know
when
what?
we see some returning characters and some returning moments and vignettes and things, I wanted it to matter more. And honestly, I gotta throw the blame at Rian Johnson. I hate to put it in the hate parade, but his choices undermined what could have been a much more stirring trilogy with this.
Right.
Like it kind of cut the whole trilogy off at the kneecap. Not saying that Last Jedi was a bad movie. It was a cool movie with lots of cool bits.
in some regards, but it kind of wasn't really Star Wars.
It really hobbled the whole collection of this. And the other thing that I felt is, thinking back on all of the trilogies, I thought of the prequel trilogy, and one was problematic for a bunch of reasons, but there was some cool world building there. 2 was a horrendous movie.
The love story was terrible.
And there was so beautiful, world building in 2.
I love the Clone War stuff. That was amazing.
But it was a brutal film. But 3 felt like a bit of a make good. It felt like, okay, let's bring the fun and let's bring the action and the adventure.
And that's what they really want to do with that third one.
And this kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
It kind of does.
It's like, we're going to make it up to all of you that didn't like the last one.
We're gonna fix everything. And I'm telling you, it is, when you watch the movie, it's so blatant that they're saying in every scene, we're fixing this. Remember that got screwed up? We're fixing this. It's unbelievable. Yeah. It's so apparent. I mean, we can't say that enough. But again, and I'm sorry to say, everything feels like it's leading to that, rather than just a nice flowing story. It's like, wait, we're doing this to get to this point so we can fix this. We fix this, we fix this.
Yes.
And but they did a great job fixing everything.
Very smart.
And making it Star Wars again and wrapping up 9 movies.
And some nice introductions of some other supporting characters that we hadn't seen before. I liked Kerry Russell, popped in with a nice little cameo bit in there. Richard E. Grant is great in this movie. And honestly, all of these, original cast members, the new characters that they introduced in The Force Awakens, which we didn't have any emotional attachment to back then, I do now have an emotional attachment. And it will be sad if this is... It's the end of the Skywalker saga, but it will be sad if this is also the end of Poe, Rey, and Finn's stories.
Yeah,
I like those,
we want to see some more about it.
Especially Rey.
Yeah, she's great.
I just love the character.
We're gonna say something too. Yeah. The introduction of the new little robot. Is his name Dio?
Yeah.
Like that? The one thing I want to say about that, I was not looking forward to that. Even you were saying before we saw the movie, oh God, they had to introduce another robot. Like why? Like BB-8 is enough. R2 is enough.
Yes.
C-3PO was enough.
I liked him.
I liked him too. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this guy's kind of fun and entertaining.
And that's one of the ways that this movie succeeds where The Last Jedi kind of failed with that, with that fan service department. And I think that's really what it is with The Last Jedi, is that it wasn't a fan service movie. It was Rian Johnson's movie.
A meta movie.
Yeah, but it wasn't about like appeasing any of us. But both Force Awakens and The Last Jedi
makes you happy.
That is the entire modus operandi. They are only about making fans happy.
We gotta say this: if you're going in and you're nervous and you're like, "I hope this is a Star Wars movie," and they wrap it up, they did.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how they could have done any better.
The problem is with this film is that it's really hard to place it in the context of your pecking order.
Oh my God!
Right?
I haven't even started to think about that one.
And I also, because it's so dense and so many layers, and we'll get into a little bit of that, and we're going to miss a ton of stuff in our spoiler chat, but we'll get into it a bit to talk about all these different threads. It's very hard to score it on one go round.
Yeah, so I know what my score is going to be on this, and I feel pretty good, but it's going to take multiple watches. Multiple. It's going to take a lot of discussions with friends over a long period of time. Same as The Last Jedi did. Last Jedi, I went in.
It went down in our estimation the more we watched.
I was like, I liked it. I think I liked it. Yeah, I was like, wait, wait.
We picked that movie apart.
I know. For years, for the last 2 years, we've been talking about The Last Jedi.
And maybe this will be one that will allow you to go back. I don't know. Maybe now you can watch The Last Jedi in the context of this, and you like it a little bit. It's hard not to talk about this. That's how big of a shadow The Last Jedi cast in Star Wars, that you can't review this movie without talking about Last Jedi again.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? But it is tied in. Because do you know why? Because it split the fan base. Everybody was okay. Yeah. Remember?
But who cares about the fan base? Just you and just me.
Well, no, but we are the fan base.
I know.
We are the fan base, and it split everybody up. Everybody started arguing about it, and and this movie does its best to kind of patch you up and put it all back together for you. It kind of gives you that kind of feeling. So let's give a score.
Okay.
So we can get to spoilers. What are you going to give it?
8.5.
You know what's so funny? That's my score as well.
Yeah, I like Force Awakens better. I can say that.
I do, because it's much more of a smoother ride, where this is just go, 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 go.
Yep.
And there's some kind of ridiculous plot things that happen that are so fast.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about that right now. Okay. But so we got two 8.5s. Now we're going to get into spoiler chat.
So get out of here if you don't want to know anything about spoilers.
Yes, maybe bookmark this or whatever. Come back to the video later.
Where do we even start with spoilers? You started off. Where do you want to start?
Okay. I think people want to know about Rey's parents. I think that's the big question, right?
Yes, finally.
And we get to know who Rey's parents are. And I guess I'm spoiling it. The Rey is a Palpatine.
I loved it. And
yeah.
Do you know what? There was leaks and rumors of that, and
Yeah.
I'm so thankful that happened.
Me too. But the only challenge is there has been so much speculation and so many divergent paths we've been able to go.
Everybody's picked their things. Like,
Yes.
What do you mean she's not an Obi-Wan?
Yes.
You know, like
right.
Yeah.
And again, that should have been the answer in 2.
Well, we know
Right,
that.
yes.
We're not going to go back to that one. We're getting answers here.
And the other thing is we knew the Emperor was coming back, and so
Yeah,
that
we
was
all
something
right away.
that Star Wars at Celebration spoiled that they shouldn't have spoiled.
You know what though? They needed to win people back, and they wanted to, and it was so obvious.
Another weird thing. They needed to win
Right.
people back. That's
Right.
just bizarre. But he's prevalent. The Emperor is a huge character in this movie.
Yeah.
He's scattered throughout the entirety of the film. Okay, so that's one of the big ones.
Okay, so that's another.
Yeah.
And then I just want to talk about. Let's talk about all the fixes that they did.
Well,
this one.
there's one that's so obvious,
Yep.
that's so big.
You guys say Luke or?
Well, the Luke one is another
Yeah.
big. As I was saying, it's so obvious and so big. But the one it's so big, he literally wears it on his face. For whatever stupid reason, Kylo Ren destroys his helmet in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
This sort of image of this bad guy. They seal it back together again. We all know that from the iconography already.
Sure.
But that's like, no, we didn't like that choice, Rian Johnson. We're putting the helmet back together again, and we're adding red stripes to where all the cracks were.
Right. And
it's just like
well,
we
knew
took that
one.
idea from
We
you
already knew-
away, Ryan.
We knew that one. The one that really hit me. There's a couple. We're going to get into both of them.
Yeah.
First of all, they redeemed Kylo Ren when he turns around and there's his father, Han Solo. Because I always thought, how are we going to ever like this guy?
Right.
He killed Han Solo.
So
And
massive spoiler: Harrison Ford is back in this movie.
We've already said we're in spoilers.
I know, but yes, okay.
We already
But it's
know
just
that.
it's shocking to me. We're talking.
It was shocking to turn around in the movie.
Yeah.
Well, Kylo does, and there's Harrison Ford. I was just like, oh my god, and I just teared up. I was just like, oh my god, this is so beautiful.
See, I wanted that to hit me more. And it
hit me hard, Vic.
I
It really
loved
hit me hard.
when Han put his hand on his face.
Oh, that was good too.
That was beautiful. That was
beautiful.
a real. Like, he forgave him,
He's
and
like, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you know, those emotional beats weren't present in The Force Awakens. He killed Han, and then he just moved on right away, and we moved on too quickly.
We should have discovered that in the second one, how it was affecting him or something like that.
And we didn't have any of that, really.
We didn't have anything with Kylo Ren in the second one.
Yeah.
Not really. He's just like all angry about stuff.
Yes,
That's
and
about it.
yeah, you had the angst and the love story.
Yeah. Which
okay, well, there's another epic kind of slap down to some of the Rian Johnson storytelling.
There's a few.
There's a few, but
yeah.
Basically the Luke Skywalker, he petulant, angry, hermit living on the island.
He's very angry at everything, and
Rey eventually, we're going all out of order here too by the spoilers here, but Rey in one part of the movie flies back to the island and crashes the Kylo Ren's TIE fighter that she had ripped off.
Right. Yeah,
I don't know why she went back to the island.
She wanted to close herself off from everything. She wanted to stay away from it. She wanted to get involved. She was scared of becoming a Sith or becoming part of the Palpatine.
So that's
she's
part
like,
of it.
I'm staying here, and I'm not leaving, and that's when Luke shows up.
Okay, well, she talks to Luke Skywalker, Force Ghost.
Yeah.
We knew he was going to be in the thing, but Luke's Force Ghost basically says I was wrong and stupid to hide out here on the island. And that was the whole plot of The Last Jedi.
I know. The whole thing. He's like, no, that's not. And do you know what he also does?
Yeah.
He smiles.
Yeah, he does.
He's good Luke.
Yeah.
And I mean, I choked up with that.
Well, and he catches the lightsaber that she was going to throw away, which is what he did in the first movie.
Right.
He catches the lightsaber, gives it right back to her. Don't throw away your weapon. You know?
It is important. I was wrong. It's unbelievable.
Yes.
Okay.
And basically, that's JJ and Chris Terrio, the writer, saying, what the fuck did you do to Star Wars?
I know.
And they fixed all of that.
So another, this is a small fix that I really, really, really appreciated.
Yeah.
Was who's the purple-haired lady? Laura Dern? Unless Hodor?
The Holdo.
Holdo.
It's
not Hodor.
No.
Yeah.
Isn't it
Hodor?
Holdo? Admiral Holdo?
I don't give a fuck.
I think it's Holdo.
I honestly don't care about her name.
Yeah.
I don't care about that character. It didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
But what I loved was, at one point, they're talking about how they can attack the First Order. And they're like, can we just shoot ships at them? And then the guy's like, we can't do a Hodor maneuver. That was a once in a.
It's not the Hodor maneuver.
Yeah,
the
whatever,
Hodor maneuver.
whatever her damn name is. I don't care. But they basically said that was such a rare thing to do that you can't just do that all the time. I love that. Thank
When
God
we
they
see this
fixed
for
it.
like the second and third time, we have to do this whole thing again and sort of point all these. But there is like a checklist of
Ding, ding.
slapdowns on the Ryan
Everything.
Johnson choices.
Everything's been changed.
Yeah.
Everything's been fixed.
Yes.
If you had a problem with The Last Jedi, you'll be happy because they fixed it, but it's so blatantly fixed.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, what else are we going to talk about here?
Well, it honestly appears to me, at least, that they killed Chewbacca at the beginning of the movie.
Which they
Sort of
don't.
roughly.
I know.
They didn't, but it was pretty shocking because it was a nice kind of show of Rey's Dark Force powers because she's a
Right.
Palpatine and she can channel that extra
Force
energy.
lightning came out of her
Yeah,
there.
and so Rey and Kylo Ren get into a battle with a ship that's carrying Chewbacca. The stormtroopers had caught him and they're flying away, and they get into a battle trying to force pull it down, which was a magnificent sequence, by the way.
Right.
I mean, that's epic. We don't see these, except in some of the games, we don't see these characters really pull ships out of the sky.
Yeah, you see that in the games. You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
For
And
sure.
so we get a little bit of that and that back and forth, and then Rey finally loses it and destroys the ship
By
that,
accident.
that Chewbacca is on. And I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Oh my
He's
God.
sitting next to me and he's like, hands up. I don't believe it. And I'm
Yeah.
hitting him. I said, and I'm just like, it can't be possible.
I was like, and
I
then
didn't
there,
think
but
it was
all the
possible.
actors sold it, and they all had this moment of like, oh my God, we killed
Yeah,
Chewie.
they all crying and stuff
which
like
is
that. Yeah.
also a kind of a make good on them moving too quickly when characters have died in the past
Right.
in the trilogy. I liked all of that.
Yeah.
And Chewbacca, here's the other really cool thing is that all the characters got lots of good beats, including R2-D2, which was basically under a blanket for most of the Last
Just carrying
Jedi.
a map, you
Yeah,
know,
and he was
that
a
one.
map.
Yeah.
But in this one, he's got a lot to do, and he's got a lot of empathy.
It's funny. He's working with C-3PO.
And
again,
C-3PO had tons to do.
Tons. And
Yeah.
Do you know that made it Star Wars? Didn't it make
Yeah.
it when C-3PO was talking all the time,
Yeah.
being fun?
Yes.
I was like, this is Star Wars.
And the quips with Poe and Finn working with an annoying 3PO were also funny, but we all know the red-eyed C-3PO from the spots, the commercial spots. The reason why he's got the red eyes is that they uncover a Sith code that allows them to figure out where the Emperor is hanging out, but he can't speak the Sith language unless he's reprogrammed and loses his memory. So that's what he's saying goodbye to. But thankfully, R2-D2 has a memory bank
and that
stored.
gets into something that we have to talk about here because I know we haven't mentioned it. What a MacGuffin.
Yeah,
that device
Yeah.
that will lead us to the Emperor. Can I just say one thing, Vic? And I'm
Yeah.
dying to say this.
Yeah.
When I was watching, there's one thing that I really don't like in the movie.
Yeah.
That I think is really stupid.
Yeah.
So we get to the planet where the Death Star has crashed on.
Yeah.
And then Rey does a Goonies adventure thing. She pulls out the knife.
Yeah.
And it has a thing,
Oh,
and
that
she
was
measures it.
so bad.
She measures it.
And it's not clear to the audience how she figures out where it is.
How is she supposed? How does she know how close she's supposed to be?
It just doesn't seem like
It's the Goonies.
She pulls it out of some Sith knife that has all this writing on it.
It's the goddamn Goonies.
Loved the water sequence though when they got into the lightsaber battle
that
with
was
the
wonderful.
waves crashing.
Yeah.
That may have been the most epic and beautiful lightsaber duel in any of the Star
Well,
Wars.
number 3 was pretty crazy.
with the lava.
Yeah.
This is equivalent to that,
It's
but
much
it was.
more, it's not realistic. It's not more realistic. It just
Well,
I thought
visually,
a little bit shorter. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, like the visual effects are more
But they are
realistic.
jumping over waves. Like, so I guess
It was beautiful.
But it was
though.
beautiful. We
Yeah,
liked that.
Yeah.
I felt like
And
Star
honestly,
Wars. It was
and,
good.
there's so many beautiful shots in this movie. I mean, we saw
absolutely.
a couple of them in the trailers where Rey's jumping over the TIE fighter and slices
Yeah.
Kylo. That was just an
And we
incredible
got the
sequence.
Knights of Ren.
Yeah.
And they got a lot of little good parts.
Yeah.
The best thing I think they could do with them.
Yeah.
They were leading the troops around and stuff like that. They got killed way too fast and way too easily.
Yeah, and Kylo Ren just needed to have the lightsaber. They did some pretty interesting things because I actually dug that quite a bit in The Last Jedi. I think they probably introduced it in The Force Awakens where they could have that force connection between the two of them over many millions of miles. And they actually had a lightsaber duel through a force connection in this movie.
Which was kind of cool.
It was great because they didn't know where either character was, but they were battling each other and destroying the world around them, but not able to see the world around them until the Darth Vader mask, which you see in the trailer, gets destroyed.
And that also introduced some new force powers.
Yes.
Force healing.
Yeah, which they showed off in the Mandalorian today.
Which we just saw.
Yeah.
But also a new force power, which, you know what? They were introducing so many. I'm just kind of like going, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's worse things to happen where he grabbed like some beads off her.
Yeah.
Like through force projection.
Well, that
Like-
was they teased a little bit of that
Yes.
physicality in previous movies,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
this one it
He's
to
like-
a bigger level.
He's
for
like,
sure.
yeah, like you're across the universe, but all of a sudden I grabbed an item that you had and I have it in my hands now.
That
Who
was-
analyzed this? And I was like, oh wow.
That was amazing.
But it could be worse. I mean, honestly, we could be talking about things that are really horrendous. That's a small thing. Another force power.
Yeah.
Not the end of the world to me.
Yeah. I mean, there were lots of other things that we could spoil. We don't want to kind of recount the whole movie.
No, but we're having fun talking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, can I say something so cheesy here?
Yeah.
The one bit, and I know some people didn't like this who saw at the screening with us. Kylo, this is a spoiler. Oh, it's all spoilers.
It's all spoilers.
Yeah, Kylo.
It's weird that we're doing this so soon.
I know.
We know that.
I know. Kylo Ren and Rey kiss at the end.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Oh, yeah, that's a pretty epic spoiler right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Not the kiss, but what happens afterwards.
Well, yeah, I was very. You know, the reason why I wasn't happy for me.
Yeah.
My wife, when we watched the last one, she's like, "Oh, I love the tension between them." I'm
Yeah.
like, and I, for me, I was like, "Oh, really?"
Yeah,
like,
there
did
was-
she, some women they really like that stuff.
There was a palpable
There
connection.
definitely,
Yeah.
and when they did,
Yeah.
it was fitting and it worked. It was a nice moment.
Yeah.
And then Kylo Ren dies.
Well, he gives his life.
Gives
He
his
saves
life-
her
saves
because
her by healing
yeah,
her.
basically this is the end of the movie, which I thought was pretty cool. Basically, the Emperor is destroying this massive fleet of ships. Poe enlists the help of Lando Calrissian and Chewbacca to go and get as much of the galaxy's ships and people from around the hope of the universe to come and battle this Imperial fleet, which is filled with Star Destroyers that each ship, there's thousands of them, each ship has a planet-destroying weapon, basically ripped right from the Death Star, attached to each Star Destroyer. Pretty epic.
Yeah,
And they
pretty
didn't
funny.
get back into a Death Star sequence again, thank God.
Thank God. I
But-
know. I don't
but
want that again.
every one of those Star Destroyers was so epic, and they had to be destroyed. They didn't have enough ships, and the rebels, the New Republic, was getting destroyed. And then the Emperor really takes it out to him because he's got his massive Force lightning. He channels the energy of every
Which was
Sith.
kind of like ridiculous.
Well, it was
Like,
so big. It was
too big.
Yeah,
too big.
But
that big bugged me. It's way too big.
well, basically, what happens is he channels all of the Sith for thousands of years, and then Rey channels all of the Jedi
For their
for thousands
battle
of
at the
years.
end, yeah.
And we hear the echoes and the voices of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda and Qui-Gon Jinn and Samuel L. Jackson,
everybody,
every
yeah.
Jedi you've ever heard in
Hayden
the movies.
Christensen, yeah,
Yeah, so
everyone is there.
they all have those echoes, and then she dies because she uses all of that power and energy to kill the
Emperor
Emperor,
Palpatine, yeah.
and then she's gone. And so Kylo Ren, Ben Solo at that point, finds Rey and brings her back to life through Force healing,
Yes.
and then he dies. But the echo of that is that it was Leia giving her life to Ben after he had witnessed Han Solo to kind of change him and to keep
That
him.
was we talked about that. That was
Yeah.
the bit that kind of confused me. I'm like, did she just use her powers to make him like freeze? But you said she kind of injected.
Yeah.
She tried to change him back.
She gave all of her health and power, all of her Force power and love to Ben Solo.
To make him realize. to
Yes,
make him-
and when he completely does the selfless act of saving Rey, they both go. Leia goes and
you know,
Ben
that's
Solo.
Yes, see, this is why it's going to take a few times.
but that
That's
was-
interesting. Yeah.
That got me.
Yeah, that was
because
good.
I thought of
Good.
Carrie Fisher. I mean, I'm getting choked up just thinking of that. Was
Yeah.
powerful. That was beautiful.
That was a nice moment.
And then there's a million other little bits and stuff, and maybe we'll revisit this again in January or something.
Yeah.
But the really powerful ending of the film is Rey going and burying the Luke and Leia lightsabers on Tatooine.
And creating her own lightsaber,
Yeah.
leading her forward.
Yeah.
And we don't know where she's going to go.
Yeah.
We don't know where any of these characters are going to go. But yes, you asked me earlier on, do you want to see more Star Wars?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And do you want to see more Rey?
Ow!
Yeah.
I want to see a Rey TV show where she's reclaiming the Jedi Order in a really wonderful way. and
Honestly,
some of the problems that
what a discovery, because it all hangs on her, right?
She's unbelievable.
The whole thing, like
Yeah.
Star Wars now, all of it
Yeah.
hangs on Daisy Ridley.
Well, for this performance in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, like the theme parks,
I know.
everything. Like if
know.
people hate this
Yeah.
movie or hated this movie, and it was because of this character, they'd be screwed.
Yeah.
She's amazing. She's
Yeah.
one of the, if not the best characters or the best performers in the Star Wars. She's awesome.
Yeah, she really her emotion resonates so much to the screen that you're sitting there. You
believe her.
You buy every scene.
Yeah.
You buy every scene. I mean, I honestly thought everybody did a great acting job.
Yes.
That's not.
But it's all on her to be this super force.
Right.
And the last line got me too. And then it was, of course, the twin sons on Tatooine.
What the way it started.
Yeah.
And the way it ends. I mean, I don't know what more you could ask for. I mean, realistically, I don't know.
This old woman walks up to her and says, "What's your name?"
Yeah.
And she says, "Rey." What else? And she says,
Rey Skywalker.
Rey Skywalker. She sees the Force ghosts of Luke and Leia and says, Rey Skywalker.
Yeah.
Boom! Chills, holding back the tears.
Did you not think that was going to happen? I did. I thought that was going to happen.
I could feel us moving to that, but it was just beautiful. It was really well handled.
I was happy that she was a Palpatine. That makes her cooler.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, I know it's a fast-paced movie. There's some things that are so ridiculous. Like, one thing.
Space Horse.
Space horses. Yeah, we know that. But we got to go back to something. When they're going through the desert and then they get sucked through the quicksand and they're in these underground tunnels and they find that Jedi hunter guy and they find the knife. I mean,
it's a little too.
That's what I talk about. We go from A to B to C to D, and we don't have a nice flow where that was really just like quickly written. Like, yes, I need to find the thing.
Yeah, that is terrible. Actually,
it's terrible. It
because the reason they fall into the quicksand is they get their ships destroyed and they go flying and they just happen to land in quicksand and then they fall into the quicksand and they find exactly what they need.
It's impossible.
it's
stupid.
It's
so
lazy.
And people can say, and there was something else we got to talk about.
Yeah. Space Horse.
No, I don't.
Can we talk about Space Horse?
Okay. You get your Space Horse, and then I get my bit.
I didn't mind the Space Horse on the planet, and I think it's related to Endor because the Death Star fell at the end of Return of the Jedi near Endor, but I don't know if it's on. If they say it's the Endor system, I don't know if it's on the same planet that the Ewoks are on or whatever. But they run into these characters that have horses, and they've Star Wars them up. And they're fine on the planet.
They're very Avatar-ish when you think about it. It's a very Avatar moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But then they have the great idea because they have to land on one of the Star Destroyers to take out a communications thing, which kind of makes sense because they took it away from a tower on a planet, and they took all the controls because somehow it takes all of these weird navigation rules in order to get to where the Emperor is.
This is one of the problems of the movie that I don't
It's a little convoluted.
It's a little
You
silly.
couple that with the hyperspace skipping that they started at the beginning of the film, which was like, what the hell's happening?
I kind of thought that was fun. That's not a problem.
That was cool, but it was like, it was zipping.
But this one is like they bring these space horses on to destroy the radar system.
They land on the Star Destroyer, and it's not quite up in space. It's just up in the sky, but still, they landed horses on the Star Destroyer.
Shoot some missiles and lasers that thing from afar in an X-wing. But I know, as you were talking about, they had to do a lot of ground battles just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Instead of flying in space. My other thing that I want to bring up is Finn's character.
Yeah.
Because it's hinted at, and we were talking to some people in the screening, and they're like, no. And I was like, yes.
Oh, because he says he feels something.
He feels something.
Yeah.
I've only seen it once, and I'm just saying, I feel what he was trying to tell Rey all the way through was, I have the Force as well.
Well, remember, he had the lightsaber, right? He was able to use the lightsaber in previous...
Yeah, and everybody was wondering why. Yeah. And I just got that feeling, and he's like, I've sensed them.
This is the thing. I didn't... After Last Jedi, I didn't want to see these characters ever again. Oh. Not that I hated them, but it's they wrapped it up. It's fine.
Wrapped it up.
I don't need them again. Now I do. Now I want to see...
Fun. Yeah. Finn was fun in this one again.
Yeah. And Poe had more nuance, and he was funny.
More Han Solo style of character.
He was cool, and they sort of allude to a mischievous past. And I love one of the lines is they start talking about, weren't you a scavenger? Weren't you a stormtrooper? We could do this all night. They start digging into each other's background.
Were you a spice trader?
That was an excellent. That was an excellent line.
That was good.
Yeah.
It's funny. There's a few problems that you can see where they were hurrying the script along to get to characters to certain points to accomplish certain things.
Yeah.
But it could have been much worse.
Yeah.
I mean, as a finale to Star Wars, is it perfect? No.
Yeah.
Could it have been perfect after Last Jedi? No. But J.J. Abrams got out the Scotch tape and was trying to fix everything and bandage everything up.
Honestly, Return of the Jedi is not as good as Empire.
We talk. Empire is fantastic, but I liked Return of the Jedi.
It was great, but it still was a little less than what had come.
Well,
out of that trilogy, it's my least favorite, and 3 was a make good on major problems with this. So they haven't really nailed all 3 of the movies, I think, in every trilogy.
Episode 4, 5, and 6 are great for me.
Yeah.
You know, episodes 1, 2, and 3 have their issues, but they're overall, you know, there's some really neat things in there as well. There's some bad acting in there. Yeah. Whatever. Force Awakens, we both agree, was amazing.
I love that movie.
And then The Last Jedi was very diverse to so many people. And this movie is trying to bring everybody back together. What it's trying to do is make everybody happy.
Yeah.
It's trying to make and I don't know if this movie can. I don't know if J.J. Abrams has that kind of power.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to find out.
But here's what I do want to say is, don't take our word for it, and don't listen to bullshit haters on the internet. Don't just, fall in line with the Rian Johnson hating everything and don't go see it because of that. Go see the movie.
Give it a chance, yeah.
And then please feel free to comment below and let us know what you think of our review and what you think of the film and stuff. But honestly, don't pick at this movie because it's Disney or because it's after Rian Johnson and you're so angry.
Yeah, I know that there's a lot to be, and I understand everybody has a lot to be upset about with Rian Johnson's film, and I feel the same way. I'm mad. We have our problems big time.
Yeah,
but give this movie a chance.
That's what honestly, just give the movie a chance. And we have like no investment in it at all.
We have no investment at all.
I just don't want people to kind of completely bail on this thing because they're just seething.
Well, I think let's let word of mouth get around, and it's going to be curious to see what's going on, because before I went to see the movie,
people were negative.
There's a lot of positives, a lot of negative. What it is, nobody knows who to trust.
Yeah.
And is this movie going to live? Nobody knows what to think anymore.
Trust yourself.
Trust yourself.
Yeah. Trust yourself. And trust in the Force.
Yeah, trust in the Force. And for us, I mean, this is the conclusion of 9 movies, and to be honest with you, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
This ride has been up and down, a roller coaster ride all the way through.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm off the ride now, and I can look forward to the next movies. I can get back to The Mandalorian, which I absolutely love.
Isn't it great that we live in an era where we have a show like that?
Mandalorian is good, man.
Yeah.
It just keeps getting better. When they get into the second season, you're just going to build on what they've already done. It's going to get better and better. Because the first season of anything is always a little bit, they're finding their way. They found their way pretty good in the first season.
Yeah.
So what are they going to do in second and third? Oh, my God.
Well, with all of this love in there, yeah.
It's going to be like that. So, guys, go and watch this movie and let us know what you think. And if you are nervous, don't be. I mean, it's a little bit of fun. I mean, you can be nervous. I was nervous. I was sitting in the movie. When a movie finished,
we were both nervous.
My hands were freezing cold.
Yeah.
My circulation had shut off.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, that was a lot to take in. But I'm so happy they gave me a lot of what was missing in The Last Jedi.
I can't wait to see the movie again.
Oh my God! I know. I need to brace to watch it again because it's really a lot to take.
Yep.
It's like going into a bar and ordering 6 beers, which is already too much, but they give you 12 and so you got to drink all those. You're like, what?
You put that on your movie poster right there. It's like going into a bar and ordering 6 beers, but they give you 12.
It's kind of like that. You feel drunk at the end of it. You're like, oh my God! It's one of those things. So
okay.
I think we've given her a score. I think we're done.
Yeah, 8.5s, and we spoiled the hell out of it. Thank you for watching this, and we'll see you in 2020.